Hi guys, it's KINO. Welcome to another video. So the topic for today's pick a card reading comes from a suggestion that was made over on Patreon, and it was really popular, so we're gonna do it over here on the main YouTube channel. We are going to be seeing how you would view yourself if you were a stranger, meaning you don't have that filter of self-judgment when you are looking at yourself. You can see yourself more objectively and perhaps appreciate more things that you sometimes don't give yourself permission to appreciate. So I hope that this reading can give you a little boost of confidence, help you on your self-love journey, and just confirm how amazing you are. So there's 5 groups to choose from today. I do feel called to say for today's reading, if you happen to feel drawn to more than one group, please feel free to pick any and all that are calling to you. For each group, there is a different keychain placed on top of the oracle cards. And by the way, this oracle deck is called I Love Me, which I thought was very fitting for this topic. So I'm going to show you each of these keychains up close one by one, and please pick whichever one or ones you feel drawn to the most. For my group number 1s, we have this cherry blossom keychain. For my group number 2s, we have this owl and moon keychain. For my group number 3s, we have this money keychain. For my group number 4s, we have this lucky cat keychain. And for my group number 5s, we have this 4-leaf clover keychain. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the cherry blossom keychain, this is going to be your reading. Yumi is currently asleep in her bed. I'm surprised she hasn't asked to come up here on the chair with me. She's Miss Independent today, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's get into your reading. So for the main part of the reading today, I want to use the transparent tarot. Because the cards are transparent, they sort of create layers on top of each other. So my idea for this reading is that we will first pull 3 cards to represent 3 traits, 3 energies that you have, 3 truths about you. And then on top of each of those 3 cards, we will put another one on top, and that top card will represent that filter through which you view yourself. I feel like that'll make more sense once I pull the cards. But let's get into it. My group number 1s. Okay, there's something coming through about you should celebrate your birthday more, or you need to celebrate your birthday more. And not just on the day of, even for the whole week after or the whole week leading up to it. Okay, I understand that this can be uncomfortable to make something about you or to put the focus on you, or maybe for some of you there are uncomfortable or even painful memories surrounding birthdays, but something just came through really strongly about honoring your solar return and how beautiful that is. Every time this solar return happens, it's a chance to celebrate yourself and to reinvent yourself and to think about the trajectory of this next year of your life and who you want to blossom into. There's a really beautiful opportunity there. Yeah, and maybe that's just for some of you, but that came through really strongly, like celebrate your birthday more. group number ones. 3 truths about my beautiful group number ones. Okay, so the first truth about you is represented as the 7 of Pentacles. The second truth about you is represented as the Queen of Cups. And the third truth about you, I love that, is being represented by the Sun. Now, let's put our filters on top of these cards. Okay, the filter on top of our 7 of Pentacles is the Lovers. The filter on top of our Queen of Cups is the King of Swords. Interesting. And the filter on top of our Sun card is the 2 of Cups. Okay, we're also going to roll some dice to get the full picture of these energies. So we have, okay, that makes sense, the number 7. The sign of Pisces, and the number 12. Okay. Some of you could have strong Pisces placements or Libra placements. You could be a Virgo rising or an Aries rising. You don't have to be, but that could be confirmation for some of you. Also, when I saw the 7 of Pentacles come out, I kept thinking about Saturn in Taurus because that is the astrological association of the 7 of Pentacles. And I kept thinking that that could be a significant time for you. I don't remember the exact dates of that right now. Maybe I'm gonna put a subtitle, but I believe it's like around 2028 or something. Those years when Saturn is in the sign of Taurus could be very significant years for you maturing or really coming into your own, really understanding who you are. And I'm hearing not apologizing for it. I feel this energy with my group number ones of you asserting who you are and then getting pushback and being like, oh, sorry, that's actually, no, that's not who I am. Did I say that's who I am? I'm actually totally the opposite. And for some of you, that's gone on for so long that you actually started to believe that who you are is this opposite persona that you created to survive. And we're gonna get into that, starting with this 7 of Pentacles filtered by the Lovers. As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, my group number ones, you are so incredibly patient with other people's bullshit. I actually think this is your superpower. Like, just smile and wave, just be polite. Just let them say what they need to say. Oh, this person is being very unreasonable right now. Just let them live in their world. Let's just do what we need to do to make them comfortable. I see someone like smiling through gritted teeth, like, I heard like, oh, yes, dear, sure. Sure. Whether this is like friends, family, anybody you've been involved with, I feel like you've learned how to do that. And actually, I think your ability to be patient with other people is beautiful, but this filter through which you view yourself, I feel like you're constantly thinking that you could have been more compassionate towards this person. You could have given that person more benefit of the doubt. You could have been more understanding. And your higher self is like, no, babes, like you're already being so patient with this person and you do not owe them any more. In fact, you could be more selfish in this situation, or you could call out this person's bullshit a little bit more. I'm hearing the phrase grin and bear it, and I think that's often what you've done, just to get by. I heard like, I don't want to make this a whole thing. I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to make this a whole thing. So I'm just going to smile and get through it. Let's just get through these next few hours. Let's just get through this day. Let's just hold it together and be patient with this BS. And I do think it's not even coming through in a way like, stop it, stop doing that, because I honestly do think that this has helped you get through some shit throughout your life. But the filter that is placed on top of this is that you're still, despite you being so patient with others, you're still constantly thinking, how could I have been more compassionate towards that person? And it's like, no, you did enough. It's like you paid the bill and you're sitting there like, did I pay enough? Yes, you did. You paid the amount on the bill. You don't need to pay more. Like, you don't owe anybody more. And I feel like you're in this mindset of like, no, I owe them more than that. I owe them more compassion. I owe them more understanding. I owe them more chances. Absolutely not. And like I said, and we're going to get into that, you could be more selfish with your energy. You could be more assertive with your energy. And actually, I want to skip over to this one because my group number ones, you have some kind of creative genius or genius in general. You are extremely talented. And I think that from an early age, someone or many people felt threatened by your talent or by your genius. Okay, I'm hearing if you felt this was the case, you need to not gaslight yourself about that, or you need to validate yourself about that, because I bet my group number ones, you sensed that, oh, I think this person is jealous of my talent. I think this person sees me getting recognition for my intelligence, for my competence, for my contributions, and they feel threatened by that. And then another part of you steps in and says like, oh no, you're just imagining things, like jealous of you, who would be jealous of you? And then kind of talk yourself out of that deep knowing. And it's time to validate yourself. Like, people absolutely were and low-key still are envious of what you can do, because something about this sun, don't get me wrong, you are very hardworking, but it's giving innate gift. It's giving an innate, like a prodigy that people cannot really replicate, even with a lot of hard work. I think the hard work that you put in, just it refines it even more and makes it even better. But the raw materials that you started with, like, you have raw talent. And it's so unique. You don't need a reference. And that's what I think many people could be envious of. You don't need a reference. You don't really need to look to anything else or anyone else for inspiration. You can just generate magic by yourself with your own unique idea. You don't need prompts. You don't need prompts. You don't need someone to hold your hand. You don't need guidelines. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with needing prompts, but you just don't. You just don't need it. All the ideas are original. You're like the opposite of derivative. We've never seen it before. What you just did, we never seen that before. You are not a trend follower, you are a trend setter, whether you realize that or not. You are a trendsetter, you are influential. People are influenced by your mannerisms, by your workflow, by the way you dress, by the way you speak, the art you create, just your approach. They are. I just heard like you're a quiet trendsetter. You know, you don't go around boasting about how influential you are. Maybe you don't even realize it, but you really are turning heads and you really are cultivating admirers and some enviers. Yeah, you have that raw talent in you. There's this filter over the sun where you kind of view yourself as a team player. For some of you, this could be you telling yourself, I should be more of a team player. I should compromise more. Others of you have kind of tricked yourself that you're a team player. I don't really think that that's in your nature, group number one. I kind of think you were meant to shine on your own, or you were meant to be the leader, or you were meant to be independent. I think someone tricked you into just being a follower or just another team member because they were threatened by the prospect of how much you could excel if you truly knew how like genius you were. I think some people just feel more comfortable when you're like just another team member kind of thing. Just another member of the group. But you have some VIP energy to you. And I hope that you feel that deep down. When I look at this sun with orange eyes, I don't know, I just feel someone who's hungry and someone who's passionate. And maybe this filter on top of it is now this feeling of the sunlight that I generate, I have to give it to other people. I have to use it in this group project. Or I have to rein it back so that others can shine. I don't know. I want to see group number one shine. That's what I want to see. I've seen everyone else shine. I want to see group number one shine. I want to give. I just thought about like a idol group, and it's like, why does group number one get all the shortest parts in the song? Why does group number one get all the underwhelming bars? I want to see group number one go off. I want to give group number one a whole verse. I want to see them at the front when we're doing the choreo. Like, what's going on? Of course, this can be an analogy and please apply it to your situation. But I don't want to see my group number ones on the sideline anymore because you're not a sideline type of person. That's not what you're here for. You're here to eat. And I think you know this deep down. The 12th house, it does represent the subconscious. So I think you know this about yourself. That truth is somewhere in there. Maybe sometimes you struggle with feeling delusional. Like if you recognize how talented you are, it's like, oh, I'm just being delusional or I'm just wishful thinking. Could be something like that as well. But I think you know. My group number ones, I think you know. In the middle, we have this very interesting dichotomy. The way it came out, it even looks like they're being split. The Queen of Cups, which is like this soft, nurturing, feminine energy. And the King of Swords, which is this direct, assertive, clear-cut, exacting sort of energy. Funny too how one of them has long flowy hair and one of them is bald. I don't know what the significance of that is, but maybe there's something about your physical appearance that you don't perceive completely accurately. I actually, on this note, I know someone close to me who's always talking about how like my hair is so thin, I have no hair. And that's not what I personally see. Like I see a full head of hair. I see beautiful hair. So there might be something that you feel is lacking. Like I don't have enough this or that. This feature isn't prominent enough. This body part isn't big enough. Like you feel like something is lacking. Something is too few or too small or too sparse. I wish my eyes were bigger. I wish my eyelashes were longer. I wish my legs were longer. I wish my butt was bigger. You know, I wish my muscles were bigger. Something like that. And, you know, if that's what you want for your appearance, then that's amazing. I don't want to say you shouldn't want those things for yourself, but just suggesting that maybe you actually have more than you think. Maybe that butt is a little bigger than you think. Maybe those eyelashes are a bit longer than you think. You're viewing it with a lack mentality. Okay, I'm just taking that very literally. The truth about you have a lot to offer to other people. And again, I feel like there's a message here about you're a lot more compassionate and a lot more tolerant than you think. You really are. I'm feeling this energy of, did I just sound rude? And it's like, you sounded like the nicest person ever. Have you ever seen those memes where someone is leaving a voicemail and then they play the voicemail back and it's like sounds completely different from what they said? I don't know if I explained that well, but like I've seen one, for example, of foreigners like leaving a voicemail in Japanese and they think that they spoke Japanese really well. And then when they play it back, it's like, Moshi Moshi, how are you? You know, like just like totally foreigner sounding Japanese when they play it back and they're like, oh, damn it. So you might have something like that where you think you were coming across as too rude. You think you were coming across as too harsh. But if you were able to instant replay that social interaction, you will actually see that you were being very nice and very generous. It's almost like you rewrite memories to make yourself appear less generous or less compassionate, when in fact you're being super kind. And with this Pisces energy here, well, first of all, that could explain why you have some blurry memories. And there may even be some really key memories of your past that you've kind of painted yourself as the harsh guy or the unforgiving guy, or like you didn't give enough to the other person. But Piscean energy, I can't remember if I already said this, Piscean energy is also about sacrifice. You might selectively forget how much you've sacrificed for other people, how much of your time and energy and creativity and guidance and expertise, how much assistance you've given to other people. You kind of erase those memories. Like you forget how much you've done for others. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing for the main part of your reading. There's a few different oracle cards that I want to use as well. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle those. First one is Sarah Luna's Affirmation Comic Oracle. And we're going to get some messages from your higher self. Whoop. My intention for this part of the reading was sort of like any guidance for how you could view yourself in a more objective way, be more kind or more loving towards yourself, how you could give yourself more grace, just any advice that your higher self has for you. This fell into my lap. You enjoy life. Interesting that this person is working out. It just reminds me of there's some way you are perceiving your body, your physique, your fitness, or just your physical appearance in general that is quite harsh. Yeah. Anyway, you enjoy life. You ditch whatever impacts your self-esteem in a negative way. Exchange counting calories for indulging every once in a while and find healthy ways of encouragement. You don't punish yourself for not meeting other people's standards. Life's too beautiful for that. So the advice from your higher self is ditch whatever impacts your self-esteem in a negative way. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to not engage in situations that make you feel like shit. You are allowed to unfollow if someone's content is making you feel like shit. You are allowed to click off a reading if it's not making you feel good. Sometimes you might engage in things that make you feel bad under the guise of like, this is tough love for myself or something like that. But you absolutely don't have to do that. You can love your way to a better version of yourself. You can foster a better version of yourself through gentleness and kindness. That is possible. With this message of exchange counting calories for indulging every once in a while, that could very well be a literal message for some of you, but I think the broader message here is to focus less on numbers-based progress in any aspect, whether that's money, grades, some other kind of statistics. The numbers don't tell you everything, so don't get too hung up on those. And go more for how you feel. How happy are you? What if we viewed progress as how happy you are, how fulfilled you are? You don't punish yourself for not meeting other people's standards. Life's too beautiful for that. Because other people's standards, they're not your problem, but they're also like not your business. People can have whatever standards they want, and they can feel however they want to feel about you meeting them or not meeting them. And it's really not your problem unless they're paying your bills or they're doing something for you. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe some of you worry about meeting the standards of people who do nothing for you. Okay? Like, if you're an important person in my life, yes, I want to make you proud. Yes, I want to meet your expectations. But if you do nothing for me and we're not close like that, what do I look like worrying about your opinion? Okay, so next we have the Magic Girl Oracle. I'm quite certain that's what it's called. Anyway, it's all going to be in the description. I'm going to put this down here because we have all this room that we should use. Oh, I just noticed there's a little Yumi here. Wow, she stayed in the bed the whole time. Usually she starts barking. She wants to come up on the chair. She's just vibing by herself right now. Ooh, protected from all evil. It's interesting that this comes out because we were just talking about protecting yourself from things that lower your self-esteem. I think a truth that you might need to come to terms with, or a truth that you might need to remind yourself of, is that not everybody wants to uplift others in the same way that you do. Because that's in your nature, you might sometimes assume that everybody else has the same intentions of uplifting others, but that's unfortunately not the case. Some people do intentionally do things to lower your self-esteem. Some people intentionally do things to knock you down. And maybe it's just worth keeping in the back of your mind. Like whether you're scrolling on social media or you're having a social interaction and you're like, that comment made me feel kind of bad about myself. That post made me feel a little shitty. Maybe that was the intention. Just remember that not everybody has good, uplifting, supportive intentions. And I do very much believe that your spiritual team is protecting you from that negativity. Sometimes you may need to step in and protect yourself from that. You've maybe heard, I don't know if this is like a quote or something, but it's like, if a snake bit you, you're not going to stand there and be like, well, maybe the snake isn't bad. Maybe I should try to understand where the snake was coming from. Like, no, you're just going to get the F out of there and don't go near that snake again. Sometimes you just gotta be like, nope, that was bad for me and leave, rather than this like, how could I be more understanding of you? Which again, that's a beautiful trait you have, but self-protection really is so important and maybe has more importance than what you've given it recently. Okay, and finally from the I Love Me Oracle. Ooh, we have Daydream. Okay, that's very interesting because I was kind of wondering what this 12th house could represent, and we were talking about the subconscious and like you knowing deep down how talented you are and the greatness that you are destined for. Maybe it comes out in your dreams. Maybe the dreams that you have revealed to you what you are destined for. And if you're struggling with reconnecting with that creative, talented, genius, truly the star that is inside of you, because you are a star. If you're having trouble reconnecting with that part of yourself, daydreaming, allowing your mind to idle, could be a really helpful way of doing that, or it could be revealed to you in your sleeping dreams. Okay, so this is everything that I'm seeing for my group number ones. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have a link down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 timeless exclusive readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new readings every month, and you can decide the topic for those. So I will have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And my music channel, which features the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. Oh, by the way, I just want to give a thank you to all the creators of these decks. I'm going to have all the decks linked down below, but I just want to give a shout out to the beautiful creators and all the indie creators out there. Thank you so much for sending me your decks, for allowing me to use them. It's an honor. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your higher self, to all versions of you, past, present, future, conscious, unconscious, to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 2s. So if you guys chose the cute little owl and the moon, this is going to be your reading. I just wanted to mention, when I was filming the intro and holding up your keychain, the camera timer went to 222, and I thought that was kind of cool because you are group number 2. And then a couple other things coming through. For my group number 2s, I'm sort of getting the feeling that you already have done a lot of work when it comes to seeing past your filters of self-judgment and seeing through to the truth of who you really are and being able to view yourself in that more objective and loving way. I think you already do an excellent job at that, or that's something you've really been working towards recently. So with that in mind, I feel like for some of you, the messages that we're going to be seeing in today's reading are kind of past energies. So for example, if I'm saying, you're really amazing in this way, but you tend to judge yourself in this way, that might be something that you've already worked through. And so this reading is more so like a confirmation of you did it and you're on the right path and you're seeing yourself in an accurate way now. I hope that that makes sense. Of course, for others of you, these filters of self-judgment could still be things that are there, still things that you're working through. I just get the sense that you're very aware of the way you judge yourself. You're very aware of the way you're hard on yourself. So for this group in particular, I feel like nothing that we look at here is really going to come as a shock. I feel like this is my self-aware group. The other thing that was coming through is being overwhelmed with messages. So my group number 2s, this could be literal. You could have an inbox that is flooded with messages, flooded with emails, or for some of you, you could be overwhelmed with the downloads that you are receiving. There could just be so many people, entities in the spirit realm who are trying to talk to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. Just kind of overwhelmed with it. But anyway, let's get into it. So for the main part of the reading, we're going to be using the transparent tarot. And because these cards are see-through, we can make layers with them, like on top of each other. So what I want to do is pull 3 cards to represent 3 truths about you. And then on top of each of those 3 cards, we will place another one that represents the filter of self-judgment through which you see those traits of yourself. Okay, group number 2s. My lovely group number 2s. Yumi, what was that? Okay. The first truth about my group number 2s is another 2. Yet again, the 2 of Pentacles. Something that just came through, and I don't even necessarily know what this means, but the message was, you've been into self-love before it was cool. I don't even know what that means. Like you've been on a self-growth, self-improvement journey before it was cool? Maybe, I guess it just means that you took it upon yourself to change your habits or to become healthier or to improve your mental health before that was part of the public discourse, before that was like a bandwagon that people were jumping on. Okay, this is just one example, but I feel like in recent years, a lot of people are quitting drinking or drinking less. And so just for one example, right? Maybe that's something you already did years ago. And maybe at the time people were like, oh, you're not gonna drink anymore? That's boring. And now everybody's like, yeah, I've been thinking of becoming sober. So that could be kind of validating. I don't know, there's maybe some trendy self-love kind of thing. And that's not to discredit it. I don't mean to be like, oh, you're just doing it because it's trendy. Just that it's becoming more popular, it's becoming more widespread. But you had already changed that habit years ago, and it's nice to see more people jumping on that bandwagon. Interesting. The second truth about you is the Star. And the third truth about you is the Page of Cups. So now we're going to go ahead and put our filters on top of these. The filter on top of your Two of Pentacles is the Three of Wands. Okay. The filter on top of your Star card is the Moon. Interesting. And you have both the Moon and the Star on your little owl keychain. Something about the Moon and the stars, or outer space, or just the nighttime could be very calming for you. Maybe we have some night owls in this group. Something about a celestial aesthetic could be significant. For some reason, I'm imagining, and I had these as a kid, those glow-in-the-dark little stars that you stick on your ceiling, and then your ceiling looks like a night sky. And now I'm thinking about Fireflies by, isn't that Owl City? Because I was thinking, you would not believe your eyes, fireflies. And the group is called Owl City, I'm pretty sure. That's so funny. You guys might also like music before it's cool, or like artists before it's cool. You know, everybody's talking about this artist now, but I've been with them since their first album. Could even just be a genre in general. Okay, and then, oh, the filter over your Page of Cups is the Page of Swords. And they overlap perfectly. That's very interesting. Okay, and then finally, we are going to roll a die for each of these to get the full picture. So we have the Sun. We have Sagittarius. And we have Leo. I was wondering if there was going to be a lot of fiery energy for you guys. And lo and behold, this is all fire. Especially Sag and Leo are coming through, but Aries energy could be significant as well. So you might have a lot of fire in your chart, or prominent fire placements. You may also find that you gravitate towards fire signs, like a lot of your most important people are fire signs. But yeah, okay, let's get into it. The first truth about you, group number one, is that you are a ball of energy. You are very energetic. You have a lot of vitality. You have a lot of ambition. You have a lot of zest for life. I think you're someone who easily gets excited and easily gets passionate about things, about a wide variety of activities. For some reason, I'm seeing a person who gets to try doing a job for one day, and they put their whole back into that job. So if they got to be a barista for one day, they're gonna make you the best freaking latte you've ever had. If they get to be hair cutter for a day. They're gonna give you the best haircut, and they're gonna learn what all the different products do and all the different tools do. Like, I feel this energy in you, like you're just so excited to learn and have new experiences, and wherever you get placed, you want to learn everything there is to know about that area. And I think you can kind of naturally excel wherever you're placed. And it's funny, in group number 1, I was getting the energy of envious people. And I think you have envious people around you as well, group number 2, because it's like you can just walk in and pick up this new thing and be really good at it. And it's just because you're genuinely interested and you're genuinely curious about learning new things and immersing yourself in the experience. It's just like a pure curiosity and love for life, which is really beautiful. But yeah, the main thing coming through is having a lot of energy and a lot of vitality, to the point that I would say, if you're feeling fatigued in your life, you know that something's wrong, like something needs to change. That's a sign that your soul is not feeling like themselves. That's a sign that your soul is not happy. Because I really feel like your nature is just being bursting with life and having that zest for life. So one truth about you, like we were kind of just talking about, is that you can excel in a number of different things. You can be good at a number of different skills. And I think you will be happiest when you're engaging in multiple different projects. So you could be someone who has multiple jobs at the same time, or you're studying multiple subjects at the same time, keeping multiple hobbies at the same time. I feel like you like to have many different things going. You're good at multitasking. I don't remember if I said that. But yeah, you're good at multitasking. You're good at juggling things. And what I notice about this 2 of Pentacles is that the Pentacles are actually both being held at the same level. So you actually have the ability, like let's say you were working on 2 projects at once. You have the ability to give both of those projects your 100%. And that's something very special about you. Not everybody's capable of doing that. Most people need to pick one to prioritize usually, I think. But you seem to be able to give multiple things your full attention and your full efforts and your full interest. There is this feeling with you of kind of always looking for the next thing, or always keeping your options open for something better. And that's actually coming through as something good about you, but it's something that you might feel bad about sometimes. It's like, I have this opportunity, but I'm keeping my eye out for better opportunities. I'm keeping my eye out for places where I might be able to grow more. And then with that might come a bit of guilt of like, oh, am I just a quitter? Am I just someone who gets bored easily? Am I just someone who can't commit to one thing? You kind of frame it in a bad way. And I think your higher self and your spiritual team want to suggest to you that actually what you're demonstrating here is ambition, adaptability, always wanting the best for yourself, never getting too comfortable, like knowing that you can always improve, or knowing that the universe at any moment could present you with something better, and like you're ready to pick up and go for it. One thing about you is you're not going to get stuck in a situation that isn't good for you when the universe is trying to offer you something better. When the universe is trying to offer you something better, you listen and you go for it. Why do you need to feel guilty about that? An example I'm seeing is, maybe this is changing, but sometimes I do feel like society, and maybe in some cultures more so than others, we place value on staying in the same job because it's like you're so loyal to that company. So if you grow up in a culture like that and you're going from job to job, always looking for something better, always looking for more challenge, always looking for bigger opportunities, you might have a negative connotation with that, like, oh, I can't stick to anything, I can't stay loyal to anything, I'm fickle, you know, I can't make up my mind about what I want. And your spiritual team is kind of saying you don't have to frame it like that. If you want to keep growing and keep having bigger and better for yourself, like that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Keep growing, keep changing, keep evolving. Keep switching up your hobbies, keep moving on to the next project. Like that's how you discover yourself, and that's how you find what is ultimately best for you. I think, and maybe you've just grown up in a society that places a lot of importance on like settling down and what's the end game. And that's kind of an illusion. Do we ever really settle down? Do we ever really reach the end game? No, that's kind of an illusion we create to give ourselves a sense of like to placate ourselves. No, that's not the right word. Because it's scary to think life is just a never-ending cycles of evolution and growth and changing. We like to think that one day we're just gonna settle and we reach the end goal, but that's not a thing. And your higher self knows that. And so I think this is just about embracing that part of you that keeps looking for the next thing. That's beautiful. If one day you want to settle somewhere, that's also beautiful, but don't feel guilty one way or the other. Your soul knows what it's doing, what they're doing. You know what you're doing. Okay, next we have the moon and the star and Sagittarius energy. This is also giving me the feeling of someone who aims really high, and I'm thinking of that quote, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars, or something like that. I do feel like you're someone who has very high expectations of yourself. You set your standards very high. I'm feeling overachiever energy. What most people would be satisfied with, you might not be satisfied with. And maybe for some time, you did try to change your expectations, but I kind of feel like recently you're realizing you don't have to. I don't have to limit myself to other people's standards. I'm sure there's a better way that I can say that. But, you know, if most people's ceiling is here and I feel like my ceiling is here, I don't need to let them shame me into lowering my own ceiling. You know, if other people don't understand why my ceiling is much higher for myself, maybe I don't even have a ceiling, maybe it's just the sky. Why do I have to fall within the scope of what other people say I should aim for, or what other people understand? And, you know, you might have well-meaning people, right? Saying like, why do you set the standard so high for yourself? You don't need to be hard on yourself. You can have lower expectations. And it's like, I don't even feel bad. Like I'm not beating myself up. It's not like I hate having these high expectations. I enjoy challenging myself. And if what I do seems too hard for you, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to keep doing it. You know, like maybe this is just one example, right? But let's say there's someone who wakes up every day at 5 a.m. and goes and works out. And then someone else is like, you don't have to do that. You can sleep, you can be gentle on yourself. And it's like, yeah, that would be good advice if I hated it. Like if I hated waking up early and working out, then yeah, maybe I should reconsider it. Or if it's making me exhausted, then maybe I should take your advice. But just because you would hate the idea of doing that, it doesn't mean that I have to hate it. I like doing this. There might be something you genuinely enjoy doing that other people would label as like hustle culture, or like you're being too hard on yourself, and you don't see it that way. And maybe for some time you bought into other people's narratives of like, maybe I should slow down, maybe I should expect less of myself, but it didn't feel right, you know? I'm not encouraging you to be hard on yourself, and I think you know that. This is something that you do and that you genuinely enjoy. And then people, I don't know, people maybe say like, you're working too much or you're being too perfectionist. It's like, you just don't get it because you could never. So, okay, that sounds a little bit, you know what? No, I said it. I said it. Yeah. Your ceiling is higher, or maybe your like threshold is higher for how much you can take on, or how high you want to aim. And like, that's okay. And everyone's ceiling is different, and yours just happens to be different than most people's. And so I just feel like for some time you thought, oh, maybe my ceiling is too high. Maybe they're right. Like maybe I should lower it. And you're just like, no, I'm not going to listen to others anymore. I know where I want to go. I know what my expectations are of myself, and it's valid. I hope that made sense. Okay, so then we have, this is really interesting to me, these two pages overlapping each other. At first, it kind of felt, okay, that looks really dark, like chasing the other page with a sword, like, rah! But that's kind of how I saw it at first. There may be a part of you that chases the other down. Okay, this is a part of you that always wants to rationalize your emotional experience. So this is the truth of you. You're having an emotion. You're having a sensitive baby. And I mean that in the most loving way. Like you're just a sensitive, soft baby. And then there's this part of you that's like, let's analyze that. Let's rationalize that. You know? And it's like, no, let me just feel. Let me just be soft. Yeah. Again, I feel like you are quite a self-aware person. So you're probably already aware that you do this, like tend to try to rationalize all of your emotional experiences. So I can even see you when you're telling someone how you feel, you might preface it with like, I know this isn't logical, but I feel like XYZ. Or like, I know this is an overreaction, but I feel like XYZ. And I think your higher self is saying, what if we stopped using those prefaces? What if we stopped using those disclaimers and just said how we feel? Because it's valid without all of that other stuff around it. Just, I feel this, you know, that's the reality of it. Your emotions are like, I said what I said. I just imagined a stomach, like a stomach being hungry, and you're trying to reason with your stomach, like, but stomach, we just ate. And the stomach is like, I said what I said. Like, did I stutter? I'm hungry. And it's like the same thing with your emotion. Like sadness, but we already worked through this. Or like, but that's not logical. The sadness is like, oh, fuck what's logical. I feel how I feel. So yeah, there's a filter of trying to, like, when you have an emotion, it's like, does this make sense? Does it make sense for me to feel this way? Is this the logical way to feel? And I think higher self, we don't want to do that anymore. Why do we do that? What is this? Oh, when I said, why do we do that? I thought of that Pink song. Because there's a part where she's like, why do I do that? Pretty birdie, please don't you ever feel like you're less than perfect. I'm gonna link those two songs, the Owl City one and that Pink song. Pretty please, if you ever feel like you're nothing, you are perfect to me. That's a sweet song. Okay, there's something. Where are we taking something personally? I sometimes feel that with Leo energy. The Leo energy actually with the pages could be referring to childhood. So maybe this tendency to try to rationalize our feelings comes from childhood. I wonder if Like some of you could have had a parent that would immediately go into fixing mode. Imagine you're a little kid and you're crying and the parent is like, okay, I fixed it for you there, happy? But maybe deep down, you were crying out to your parent like, hold me, hug me, cuddle me, reassure me. Like you wanted that emotional, I see you, I see how you're feeling, rather than just the, here's the solution to your problem, can you stop crying now? So, like seeing your emotions as a problem to solve or something to fix, when really your emotional expression was a desire for connection, a desire for bonding. So maybe we still carry a little bit of that, seeing our emotions as a thing to fix, a thing to solve, like a thing to figure out, when really it's an opportunity to connect with yourself, or maybe more specifically, an opportunity to connect with your inner child. Creating could also be, if it's hard for you to see the truth of how you're feeling, creating could be a good way to get to the truth of it. Like writing, drawing, whatever it might be, and then just kind of look at what you made, and that might tell more of a truth about what you're feeling as opposed to trying to analyze it, if that makes sense. Okay, so for the last part of this reading, we're going to use a few different oracle decks. My intention for this part of the reading is to get some guidance from your higher self about how you could be kinder to yourself or how you could show yourself more love. But whatever your higher self wants to say. So first, we're going to pull a card from Sarah Luna's Affirmation Comic Oracle. Messages or advice from group number 2's higher self. Oh, this one is, okay. I was gonna say she's taking some time. Cursing care cloud. The letter C could be significant. Cooking, which also starts with a C, could be significant. This is the Cursing Care Cloud, one of many affirmation comic doodles created by Sarah Luna, also known as the Lunar Walker. Cursing Care Cloud is here to energize you. We were talking about you're full of energy. For some of you, if you're feeling fatigued, it could have to do with diet, but for a lot of you, I felt like the fatigue you're experiencing is maybe not physical fatigue. It's like psychological or emotional. And it's a sign that something in your life needs to change. And the example that is coming to my mind is, interestingly, a child, because we were just talking about your childhood, who is really groggy in the morning. And they're like, oh, I don't want to go to school. I'm so tired. I just want to go back to sleep. And then they realize that it's Saturday. Once they realize they don't have to go to school, suddenly they're springing out of bed and they're ready to do a million things and they're zooming around. It's like, oh, not so tired, are we? So there could be some psychological fatigue that feels like physical fatigue. But it's really just a sign of there's something in life that we're dreading, or something feels like too much pressure, or there's something we need to change. Cursing Care Cloud is here to energize you, to provide tough love, and tell you how epic you are. Then we are going to get a card from the Magic Girl Oracle. Fight like a queen. And it's Sailor Moon, and there's so much like moon and star energy here. A lot of things in the sky. The moon, the stars, we even have the sun here. We have clouds and lightning. Owls are in the sky because they're birds. Again, there could be something about space, stargazing, cloud gazing. That could be something healing for you, watching the sunrise or watching the sunset, or perhaps even bird watching. Something about space or space travel, movies involving space. I'm thinking of Interstellar. I'm also thinking of Star Wars. You know, things in space, things in the sky. I'm also thinking of Wallace and Gromit, because there's that one where they go to the moon. I think, oh man, that's so nostalgic. I think they go to the moon because Wallace wants to find out if the moon's made of cheese. I don't know, it's been a while. I remember thinking that episode was kind of scary when I was little with the rocket ship. I really think this Fight Like a Queen is just reiterating that message of give yourself permission to set your own bar as high as you want to. And that can change over time. In certain eras of your life, you might set the bar higher or lower, and it's all okay. Because it's not actually that higher is better or lower is better. It's whatever feels authentic to you, whatever feels comfortable to you. Because if you're an overachiever at heart, staying in your comfort zone is actually going to feel very uncomfortable. Let yourself embody your excellence. Okay, and then the last oracle card, that oracle deck that we're shuffling from, is the I Love Me oracle. Zoom out and focus on the higher truth. Now I'm thinking of that song, Higher Ground. I'm gonna link that one too. That's a good song. I used to play this snowboarding game. That's actually one of the reasons I got into Japan, because one of the characters in the game was Japanese, and she like spoke Japanese while she was doing her little tricks on her snowboard. And they had like I guess it was a cover of that song by, I want to say Red Hot Chili Peppers, so they could be significant. I don't know which version I'm gonna put, but I'm gonna put one of the versions. The soundtrack, it was SSX3. The soundtrack to that game was so good. Snowboarding could be significant for some of you. But interesting that, again, there's this feeling of being in the sky, zooming out, having a bird's eye view, seeing the higher truth. Some of you need to get on a plane. Some of you need to go on a trip. Go far away from the context of your everyday life. Why is this making me want to cry? Some of you, you just need to get away from it all for a while. Rather than, imagine you're a house and it's like, instead of renovating the house that is already there, maybe we just have to let the house like fall apart and build a new one. And that will actually be the fastest way to get back to yourself, or to get to your true self. You need to, I actually think it might be in a different oracle deck, but it's the same creator. And they have a card that expresses that sentiment of like, sometimes you need to just completely let yourself fall apart to find the true you. There is a message here about starting completely fresh rather than building on what is already there. So that could be a message for some of you, whether that's pertaining to the reinvention of yourself, or it could be your career, it could be a particular project or goal that you have. Sometimes starting from scratch deceivingly can be the faster and more efficient way. It doesn't always appear that way because you're like, why would I start over when I've already made all this progress? But sometimes starting over is the better and faster way. Zoom out and focus on the higher truth. Because this came out under these cards, there may be some childhood memories that you're ready to revisit in a more objective way, especially looking at the adults that were present, because when we are kids, we tend to think that adults like know everything and they're like superheroes and they're perfect. They're the authority on everything. And now that you are an adult, maybe you can revisit some memories and view the adults as imperfect, flawed people who are trying their best, or maybe they're not trying their best, but you'd be able to see the events that unfolded and how you were treated and maybe the dynamic between you and adults more objectively. That could be enlightening, or that could be healing for you. There may be certain childhood events that shaped you or influenced you more than you currently realize. But yeah, I think those are all the messages for my group number 2. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. I also want to take this time to thank all the creators of the beautiful decks that we use today. Thank you to the indie creators for sharing your art. Thank you for sending me your decks. It's such an honor to be able to use them. I'm going to have all these decks linked down below. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 timeless exclusive readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new ones every month that you get to choose the topics for. So I'll have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release link down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your higher self, to all versions of you in the past, present, future, parallel versions of you, healed, unhealed, wherever you're at. I'm sending you love, and I'm sending love to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Yumi is snoring up a storm. Oh, she looks so cute. Bye bye. Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose this gold money keychain, this is going to be your reading. The very first message coming through for my group number 3s is that a big key to you seeing yourself in a more accurate way, and especially in a more forgiving way, is to either talk to people more, so like to talk to the people in your life more, or talk to more people, as in expanding your social circle. I feel like a lot of my group number 3s are introverted people. Maybe you're like me, where you could happily be alone for any length of time. Something that I've noticed about myself as an introvert is that I could be perfectly fine being alone for a long time, but it's not necessarily best for me because I tend to really get in my own head, and sometimes you just need another perspective, you just need another worldview, or you need to talk to someone. We're humans, we're social creatures, of course. But I definitely feel there's a message for my group number 3s about making sure that you don't get too closed off or that you don't get too isolated, whether that's because of your naturally introverted nature, or maybe you have a really busy schedule, or maybe you live kind of far away from the important people in your life and you have to make a bit of an extra effort to keep in touch or spend time with them. But that's going to be something that is really, really healthy for an accurate self-image and a good self-esteem. Because I do have a feeling that your friends, your family, even coworkers, just the people in your life do see you in an accurate way and maybe see you in a higher light than you sometimes view yourself. They see your amazingness where you are maybe sometimes hard on yourself. So talking to the people in your life more, I think, will remind you of the beautiful light that you are. There was also something about making a point to talk to people in your field more. So this could be the field of work that you're currently in, or it could be a field that you're aspiring to. But the more you talk to people in that field, the less hard on yourself you will be. Because I feel like there's certain things that you judge yourself for. Like, for example, you're judging yourself because you can't do something. But if you talked to other people in your field, they would all be like, oh, we can't do that either. Like, yeah, that's hard for us too. We struggle with that too. And it's like, oh, really? I thought it was just me. When we don't talk to people, I feel like sometimes we assume that whatever we're struggling with is an us problem. Like, oh, this is a me issue. This is just me who is struggling or who's feeling this way. And then when you talk to people, you realize, oh, a lot of other people are struggling with this too. And sometimes just knowing that it's not only you, and like you're not struggling because there's something wrong with you specifically, that can be such a big help, and just it takes a really big weight off. So I do think there's a message right off the bat for my group number 3s about trying not to isolate yourself or get stuck in your head, because realizing you're not alone in what you're going through is like a really, really big thing of being more gentle with yourself. So let's get into the reading. For the main part of your reading, we're going to be using the transparent tarot because of the way they overlap with each other. We can kind of do a cool reading. So I'm going to pull 3 cards to represent 3 truths about you. 3 truths about my group number 3s. So the first truth about you is represented by the 10 of Swords. The second truth about you is represented by the King of Pentacles. And the third truth about you is represented by the Knight of Cups. So now that we have these 3 truths, we're going to pull one more card for each of these, and it's going to go on top and represent the filter of self-judgment through which you view these truths. Okay, for my group number 3s, what is the filter over your 10 of Swords? We have, oh, interesting, the Strength card. What is your filter over the King of Pentacles? The Ace of Wands. And what is your filter over the Knight of Cups? That's a lot. I'm not going to take all of those. but maybe, so a bunch of cards just fell out at the same time. I could interpret that as the filter of self-judgment over your Knight of Cups is particularly strong, particularly hard to see through. Like you really have a hard time seeing or claiming your inner Knight of Cups. So I'll keep that in mind. And it's the Six of Cups. Okay, and then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna roll a die for each of these to get the full picture. So we have the number 5. We have the number 4. And we have the number 7. Interesting, all of your dice are numbers because these are astro dice. So there's planets, there's zodiac signs, there's numbers. You got all numbers. Maybe your higher self or your spiritual team or even the higher selves of people in your life communicate to you a lot through numbers. You could be, numerology could be significant. You could be gifted in numerology. That's just very interesting. 5, 4, and 7. You could have personal planets in your 4th, 5th, or 7th house, or you could have prominent Cancer, Leo, or Libra energy. You don't have to, but that could be confirmation, especially Leo, because the major arcana that we have here is strength, which is related to the sign of Leo. So this is very interesting because the 10 of Swords is a card that says, I'm done. I'm done. I've had it. I'm hearing I can't do this anymore. The person has 10 swords in their back and they're essentially like dead, depleted. But the Strength card says to persist. Quite literally, it says to be strong. I'm hearing, I must be tough. I must keep fighting. Oh, I don't know the lyrics, but that song just came into my mind. Desire by Years and Years and Tuvilo. I'm gonna link that. It's a good song. Whoa. Anyway, I think this is a pretty straightforward message where a truth about you is that you know very well what your boundaries are, what your limits are. You know when something is not good for you anymore. Okay, there's an emphasis on the anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore. This was good for me at a time, but I've outgrown it. Okay, you know when you've outgrown something, but sometimes you might tend to hold on for longer than you need to. And there's a few different reasons I'm seeing that you could do this. One of them, and they are kind of ego-based, one of them could be because you take pride in being able to put yourself through unpleasant or uncomfortable situations. This is kind of giving the vibe of someone who brags about how hard their life is. Okay, I'm not saying you do that, but if I take this energy and crank it up to 100, it would be like that kind of person. Or a person, you know, like, oh, I'm just so busy. I'm just working so much. Oh my gosh, I didn't sleep at all last night. Like, kind of taking a weird pride in how much they can exhaust themselves, or like, yeah, like, or how long they can go without taking a break, how much they're working. And that might be something that comes from you. That might be something that you've adopted because of the culture you grew up in. Like, if you grew up getting rewarded for doing uncomfortable things, then of course that's gonna stick with you, right? Because those past versions of ourselves never really die. Like, they're always still there. So yeah, some of you might kind of take pride in like, this isn't enjoyable for me anymore, but how much longer can I push myself to do it? Or like, I'm super exhausted, but how much longer can I push myself? Even though that may not be the most constructive thing to do. Okay, so for some of you, it's like a pride thing. It could also be, you could be worried about disappointing people if you walk away from something. You could be worried about letting people down, or just worried about what they will think. And all of this, I do feel like it comes back to putting importance on how your decisions are viewed. What story are people going to conjure up about me when they see me walking away, or when they see me taking a break, or when they see me no longer engaging? Some of you are worried about being perceived as stuck up. Okay, that's interesting. If I walk away from this, are people gonna take that as like, oh, so you think you're better than, like, let's say you want to leave a friend group, or you want to leave a community because it's just, you know, it's not good for you anymore, but you're worried about that community thinking like, oh, you think you're better than us now because you've outgrown us, or you've outgrown this job. You think you're too good for this job. You want to leave this relationship. Oh, so you're too good for me. Something in you is like worried that it's going to be perceived that way. Maybe you have an experience in the past where your wanting to walk away or disengage was perceived in that way. So you have a bit of a wound around that. There's a fear of moving on, or a fear of acknowledging that you've outgrown things. For some of you, like I said, there's a fear of acknowledging that you're tired. You might say like, I'll take a break when this is done, instead of I'll take a break when I'm tired. I'll take a break when I need one. Like, no, I'll take a break once all the work is done. But it's never all done, is it? Because when you finish one thing, there's something else to work on. Maybe for some of you, there's a fear of honoring the natural cues of your body. Like when your body says it's tired, when your body says it's hungry, when your body says it's bored, whatever it might be. Maybe somehow you feel like those cues are not reliable. And so you try to rely on more external checkpoints. And I think your higher self is inviting you back in. Because at the root of this is, you know when enough is enough. You know when something is too much for you. You know when it's time to end things, when it's time to walk away. And for some, why do we feel like we can't trust that? Or why do we feel like we can't honor that? Okay, so the next thing I'm seeing is my group number 3s. You may tend to downplay how skilled you are, or how much you have contributed, or how much you know what you're doing. Okay, so I'm seeing a few examples. I'm seeing a group project where you did most of the work, and yet you downplay your role. Maybe you put your name last, even though you did the most work and it should be first. Or actually, I don't know how it works. Maybe your name is supposed to go last if you did the most work. Whatever, I don't know. Like, or I had this happen to me once, and actually, I don't know if this is the common practice, but I worked on a song with someone, and honestly, they did most of the work, and then they sent me a written agreement, and they had the profit split 50-50, and I was like, that doesn't seem fair. Like, I shouldn't be getting 50%. I did not do 50% of the work. So my group number 3s, it feels like this energy of someone who did 90% of the work and then tries to only take like 20% of the credit, for example. So downplaying how much efforts you made, how much was your idea, how much you contributed to something. I almost just said that's a big thing with you. Okay, so maybe for some of you that is a big thing with you. How downplaying how much you've contributed to a workplace or to a culture. And that could be, like, when I say contributing to the culture, I guess I'm thinking of art, but that could even be within your family. Because even really small groups have a culture within their group. So within your family, within a friend group, within a smaller community, you might downplay your contributions or your influence within that group. And yes, you tend to downplay how much you know what you're doing. So how good you are at something or how much authority you have over a subject. For example, if you were giving someone advice, you might give them the most brilliant advice and then be like, I don't know, that's just me though. I don't really know what I'm saying. That's just, And it's like, you know what you're saying. You know that's good advice. Or you teaching someone how to do something. This is how I would do it. That's just me though. And it's like, you know that what you're doing is brilliant. If you made something, oh, I just threw this together, I don't really know what I was doing. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, group number 3. You're amazing at what you do. I mean, there could be different reasons that you do this. It could definitely just be like a humbleness thing. I actually do find that a lot of people who are experts in their field are quite humble. That's just been my experience, because they know that they're the shit and they don't really feel like they need to prove it. And I also think it's like, the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. The more you advance in a field, the more you realize you have such a long way to go. So I get it. I get the humbleness for sure. Some of you could be kind of shielding yourself from criticism. So, if you say, oh, I just threw this together, I didn't really know what I was doing, then if someone downplays your work, it's like, well, I already downplayed it, so you can't hurt my feelings. But if you said, like, I think this is my best work and I did everything so deliberately, and then if someone critiques it, then that could hurt a bit more. Yeah. That's what I feel with this energy. Finally, we have the Knight of Cups, which we remember this Knight of Cups had the heaviest filter on it. So I think my group number 3s, you could really be struggling to access this Knight of Cups within you. My first thought when I saw this Knight of Cups was someone who wants love. So there's a part of you that really, really desires like love or true love that is hard for you to see, or that's hard for you to honor. For some of you, it could be romantic love. Like you really desire to find your true romantic love. You really desire to find your soulmate. And if you were an outsider objectively looking at this, you might say something like, oh, that's really sweet. This person is a romantic. This person believes in true love. This person wants their happily ever after. That's so beautiful. And that's such a natural and healthy thing to want. You would view it in this very endearing way, in this very natural way. But maybe some of you view it as, oh, I just heard you're asking for too much. And that made me feel a bit sad. If you were being honest with yourself, you really, really desire true love and closeness and connection and intimacy. It's so funny because what I was going to say at first is that you see that as weakness. like desiring love and desiring connection. But I think seeing it as weakness is just a more comfortable way for your ego to frame it. When really, maybe beneath that is this feeling of, I'm asking for too much by asking for someone to love me unconditionally, or asking for someone that I can love unconditionally. I'm asking for too much by asking for my soulmate, for my twin flame, my divine counterpart, my life partner, whatever it might be. I'm asking for too much by asking for my soul family, by asking for friends who love and support me no matter what. I don't know, something about the Six of Cups. Usually we see a child handing flowers to another child, but this person, the way they look bigger and the way they're towering over the child, it feels like, I don't know, something about it feels uncomfortable, like a power dynamic where the child is asking for something and the adult gets to decide if they give it or not. I get to decide whether you're asking for too much or whether you're asking for just enough. And if you're resonating with this message, I do think somewhere along the line, you have been made to feel like asking for your emotional needs to be met was too much, was unreasonable. It's not a big ask, you know, wanting your life partner, wanting your soulmate, wanting to experience true love. That's kind of what this life is all about. It's not a luxury. It's not I feel like we're viewing it as like this rarity that only happens for a tiny, tiny fraction of people. And it's silly to think you should be the one to receive it. It doesn't have to be that way. Love can be easy. It can be abundant. It is abundant. Your higher self wants to reconnect to that part of you that desires love. You have the number 7 here. That's all about relationships. Yeah, and I think there is a part of you that is romantic and sensitive and does want to shower someone with affection and just be soft with them. Be soft and squishy and give them cuddles. The way this knight is on one knee, there could be something about a proposal that is really important to you, like maybe wanting to propose to someone or be proposed to, and, you know, have that traditional proposal moment. That could be about marriage, but it's really just about offering your heart to someone. There's nothing wrong with wanting love like that. In fact, it's very, 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 very natural. And I feel like saying this because I think sometimes we worry about like, am I obsessing over love? Am I obsessing over this person? Am I obsessing over this connection? You can think about something and daydream about something as much as you want. And obsession is only bad if it's impeding your life and impeding your well-being. That's just my personal opinion. If you're daydreaming about someone all day and it makes you feel good and you're still getting your daily tasks done and you're happy, like, who cares? And again, this goes back to trusting the cues of your body. There's no external metric about what's too much to think about something, or what's too much to want something, or when are you too obsessed with something or someone. There's nothing external that tells you that. It comes from within. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, if you're starting to feel frustrated, if it's starting to affect your mood, then it's too much. But it's different for everybody, and it's different in different situations. I don't know, I feel like someone needed to hear that. Someone might be worrying like, I'm too obsessed with love, or I'm too obsessed with this person. And it's like, only you can determine that. like, how is it making you feel to think about something this much? And if it's making you feel good, it's none of our business how much you're thinking about it, you know? Okay, anyway, so we're gonna move into the last part of the reading now. There's a few different oracle decks that I want to use. And my intention for this part of the reading is to get some guidance from your higher self with regards to how you can be more loving, more kind to yourself, but anything your higher self wants to say in this part is perfect. So the first deck we're using is Sarah Luna's Affirmations Comic Oracle. Messages or advice from group number 3's higher self. You are courageous. You are bold enough to be yourself. You decide your goals, how to spend your time, and what to invest your energy in. If you can imagine it and visualize it, you can manifest it. Okay, next one is the Magic Girl Oracle. This one, I like picked up the deck to shuffle and I didn't pick this one up somehow, so I feel like we're gonna take that one as well. So we have Magical Girl in Training, and it's coming very soon. Ooh, so you're being... The reason this theme is coming up for you, this theme about seeing yourself in a kinder light and seeing yourself in a more objective way, the reason this is coming up is because you are being prepared for something big, probably a manifestation of yours, because the message on this card was, if you can imagine it and visualize it, you can manifest it. So one of your big manifestations is coming, or the big manifestation you have in your heart is coming, and it's coming very soon. And in order to welcome and receive this manifestation into your life, it may require you to show up as a version of you that is kinder to yourself. That might be one of the building blocks towards receiving this manifestation. I'm looking at the rose and thinking about the delicate petals. So I do think that you receiving this manifestation is gonna clear the way for you to embrace your inner Knight of Cups. So many of you could be manifesting love, manifesting softness. Yeah, true love and connection. It's coming very soon. And so the reason these messages of self-love and being kinder to yourself are coming up is because that's part of your manifestation. It's like the prerequisite or the preparation to receive this big love. You decide your goals. You decide how to spend your time. You decide what to invest your energy in. If you feel called to do this, don't worry if you don't feel called to do it, but it might be an eye-opening experience to write down what your goals are, to write down how you're spending your time every day and what you're investing your energy into, and then to ask yourself the question, is this something that I decided? Was this my idea or not? Because it should be your idea. It can be your idea. It's allowed to be your idea. And the last deck that we're going to pull cards from is the I Love Me Oracle. I feel like I want to take two. Okay. Be patient with yourself and check in with your feelings. Okay, yeah, a big part of your transformation is reconnecting with your inner Knight of Cups. If you do readings for yourself or if you're watching other readings, be on the lookout for this Knight of Cups card. And if you have been seeing it in readings, I definitely feel it represents an aspect of you that wants to be expressed more. It's the lover, it's the romantic, it's the sensitive, empathic, soft, craving intimacy, craving deep connection, like that part of you. The soft emotional part of you really wants to come out. And when I look at these two together, check in with your feelings, be patient with yourself, it's a process. It's a process reconnecting to that emotional side of you. And if it doesn't happen right away, your higher self says, be patient with yourself. It might take time, but it's okay. That's normal. And it's going to be worth it. Okay, so these are all the messages I'm seeing for my group number 3s. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. I also want to say thank you so much to the creators of all of these decks. Thank you to the indie creators who share your art with us. Thank you for sending me your decks. It's an honor to be able to use them. And thank you for watching. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 timeless exclusive readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new ones every month that you can choose the topic for. So I'm going to have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your higher self, to all versions of you, past, present, and future. Ooh, I just saw 3355 when I was saying that. So there's something there about your 5D self merging with your 3D self. You're definitely manifesting a new version of you. Very exciting. Yeah, so I'm sending love to all versions of you and to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. I don't know why, I'm patting my heart. I'm sending you love straight from my heart. And I feel it. I feel your love in my heart too. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 4s. So if you guys chose the Lucky Cat keychain, this is going to be a reading. So for the main part of this reading, we're going to use the transparent tarot. Because the cards are transparent, they overlap each other in a cool way. So what I want to do is pull 3 cards to represent 3 truths about you. And then once we do that, we are going to pull 1 more card to go on top of each of those 3. And that card that goes on top is going to represent the filter of self-judgment through which you may be seeing those truths. My group number 4s. Okay, the first truth about you, which came out very quickly, is the Queen of Wands. The second truth, which also came out very quickly, is the Knight of Wands. And the third truth is the Queen of Pentacles. Interesting that all 3 of them are court cards. There's just a couple things I want to say before we pull the next cards. Something about how quickly these came out gave me this feeling but I feel like you are a fast learner, and it's because you're good at listening. Like when someone explains something to you, you're really listening and paying attention, and they only have to tell you once. You're like, got it, okay, I understand, let's move on to the next thing. And that might be a skill you have that you kind of take for granted. I'm getting the feeling of a fast learner. I also think that if you were a stranger looking at yourself, and this is how many people feel about you already, many people see you as someone who is very polite and respectful and very, very thoughtful, very likable, very friendly. But at the same time, I think people see you as someone who is selective with who they give their time to, who they invest more deeply in. And people view this in a very positive way. It makes them respect you more. Like, oh, this is someone who really has high standards. This is someone who really respects their own energy. This is someone who doesn't invest their energy in just anything or let just anyone get close to them. That makes them really, really respect you. It's coming through like that. Okay, so now we're going to pull our cards that represent the filters of self-judgment that you might have when you are perceiving yourself. So, what is the filter over your Queen of Wands? We have the Five of Swords. Okay, that's interesting. What is the filter you have over your Knight of Wands? We have the Nine of Wands. And what is the filter that you have over your Queen of Pentacles? We have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to roll a die for each of these. So we have the Moon. We have Pisces. And we have Saturn. Some of you could have Saturn in Pisces, which shout out if you do, because I also have Saturn in Pisces. At the time, Saturn is still in Pisces at the time that I'm filming this. Yes, it is. So, and it's going to be until March, I think. The month of March could be significant for you. Or like, whenever you're watching this, the next month or so could be very significant for you. In what way? You're reclaiming your power, and you're going to start to have the success that you always deserved and that was always possible for you. And it was just about you claiming it. Interesting. Some of you could have the Moon in Capricorn or Aquarius, or the Moon in Pisces, or someone who has that moon sign is very important to you. It doesn't have to be, but this could just be confirmation for some of you. But anyway, let's get into it. Group number 4, it's very clear to me that you know what you like and you know the way you want things done. You know what works and you know what doesn't work. And I just heard anytime you try to stray from this, you just get proven right over and over and over again. It's as if, for example, you have your workflow that you know works for you. Maybe you've been doing this same workflow for 10 years or this same routine for 10 years, and you know that it's the best routine for you. And then every now and then a little bit of self-doubt might start to creep in, and you're like, what if I'm getting too stuck in my ways? What if I'm being too closed-minded? maybe I need to try switching up my routine. Like maybe I'm being too rigid. And then you try to switch it up and it doesn't work. And it just proves every time I was right. I knew what was best for me. That's something that's coming through. Like you really know what is right for you. I feel like with the Queen of Wands here, that really gave me that feeling. I know what I like. I know what I'm looking for, and I'm not lowering my standards. Something that's coming through with these beautiful queens, the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles, is like, I know what I deserve, and I'm not going to lower my standards or lower my expectations to make someone else comfortable. And if that makes me stuck up, then so be it. I was gonna say if that makes me a bitch, and I really don't like that wording. I hope that no one has used that word to describe you. And if someone has, I just want to talk. I just want to talk. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're coming out as queens for my women and femmes, this can definitely be something that you struggle with. Feeling like I'm supposed to make the other person comfortable. I'm supposed to be agreeable. I'm supposed to stroke their ego. I shouldn't be too picky. I shouldn't be too demanding. I shouldn't be too much. You might struggle with things like that. So sometimes you might have a filter of self-judgment where you say, I'm being too harsh. I'm being too picky or something like that. I'm being too strict. That's the self-judgment, when in reality, it's like, no, you know what you want. And that message is coming back where it's like, anytime I stray from that, I'm just proven right. So let's say you are very particular about who you like to date or the type of person you're looking for. And then you start to get a worry about, maybe I'm being too picky, like maybe I need to lower my standards, or maybe I need to give this person a chance or something like that. And anytime you do that, you're just proven time and time again, like my high standards are here for a reason. They're here to protect me from BS. They're here to protect me from energy I know is not good for me. I know I'm not going to vibe with it. And this Five of Swords, it can talk about conflict. So there could, sorry, Yumi's wandering around. There may be a part of you that worries, like, I'm gonna burn bridges, or yeah, like I'm being disagreeable. And it's interesting because I actually feel like most people don't see you that way at all. Most people, I think, really respect your certainty in knowing what you want and really respect your high standards. There's always gonna be a few outliers. There's always gonna be a few weird people who are butthurt that they don't meet your standards, but that's not your problem. I don't know why I'm whispering, but like, it's really not. It's this Five of Swords just reminds me of some person who's like salty that you rejected them, and so they're like, you're gonna end up alone. If you keep being so picky, you're gonna end up alone. And like they're just trying to throw something at you. So sometimes that way of thinking might get into your head a little bit, and you might start to judge yourself or doubt yourself. But I feel like this Queen of Wands is saying like, no babe, we're good. We're keeping our standards way high. We know exactly what it is we want. And that's a blessing, because a lot of people don't know what they want. The fact that you know so clearly what your expectations are, what your boundaries are, what your standards are, that is a beautiful blessing. And you don't need to feel pressured into changing them for anything or anyone. I also feel like this is kind of a similar message, because the Knight of Wands has one wand. He's saying, this is my wand. This is the wand that I choose. The Nine of Wands person is holding one, but they have a bunch of backup wands. This is how I'm seeing it. So sometimes you have filters on that tell you, maybe I should keep my options open. Maybe I'm being too stubborn. This could be with goals too. I feel like, you knowing what you want, it's not just in relationships, it's with your goals, it's with your manifestations. I think my group number 4 is you have a very clear vision of the goals you want to achieve and what you're working towards manifesting. You may often get tunnel vision towards your goals, and I feel like you don't really budge. I feel like if you were watching a reading and the reader said, oh, maybe you're not going to manifest this, but the universe has something better for you, you would be like, something better who? Like, this is the best manifestation for me, and this is what I want, and you're not going to change my mind about it. And I kind of love that. I kind of love that group number 4. This is fixed energy, the night energy. At least that's how I learned it. And I think that as you move steadfastly towards your goals and desires, you might, again, have that little bit of self-judgment or self-doubt creeping in that says, for example, maybe I should have a backup plan. Maybe I should be open to other things that life wants to offer me. And it's funny because I feel like I give advice to that effect a lot, but that's not for everybody. And the way it's coming through for my group number 4s, I feel like that's not for you. And sometimes you might doubt yourself and think like, well, what if this thing that I'm moving towards is not for me? Like, what if the universe has something else planned? What if I need to keep my options open more? What if I need to be more adaptable? What if I'm being too stubborn? And your higher self is encouraging you to see the beauty in knowing so clearly where you're headed and what it is that you desire. I think that's how other people see you. They're like, wow, group number 4 is so determined. Group number 4 has so much clarity. Group number 4 is so passionate about what they do. Whereas if you're viewing that trait of yours in a negative light, you might think like, why doesn't group number 4 keep their options open? Why doesn't group number 4 expand their horizons more? Why are they always... Oh, this reminds me of, let's say there's one thing you're really, really, really interested in and it's all you talk about. You might think people are judging you like, oh, there goes group number 4 talking about this again. Is that all they care about? Is that all? But no, they're actually saying, I love how passionate group number 4 is. I love how knowledgeable group number 4 is about this thing. Maybe some of you don't branch out much when it comes to your hobbies, when it comes to the things you like to study, the things you like to work on. And you're like, maybe I should have more things. Maybe I should be a jack of all trades. And you don't need to be. It's coming through as something very beautiful. The things that you are passionate about and the things I'm hearing that you refuse to let go of. If you're really struggling to let go, maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe you're supposed to hold on. Maybe you're supposed to keep your sights set on something. Maybe you're supposed to stay committed. There's a loyalty in this. I think you're a very loyal person. When it comes to people, yes. You're selective, but once you lock in, you're extremely loyal. And it's the same thing with goals. You don't just chase any goal, but once you decide that a goal is important to you, you better believe you're going to see that through until the end, no matter what happens. Some of you might have a goal that you've been hoping for a really, really long time, working towards for a really, really long time. And when those judgmental thoughts come up, it might be like, am I silly for holding on for this long? Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I should give up. Maybe I'm just being unrealistic at this point. It's been X number of months or X number of years. I should get over it already. But the beautiful truth about you is that when you want something, you're locked in and you're going to make it happen. And I think my group number 4 is you need to hear that. Like, the goals that are in your heart, you are going to make them happen. I feel like you refuse to live in a timeline where it doesn't happen. As you should. Because when something matters to you, it matters to you. And I'm hearing something like, I'm tired of trying to pretend like I don't care. I'm tired of trying to pretend that I'm letting go. I'm tired of trying to pretend that I'm surrendering. I have outcomes that I want. I'm not going to convince myself that I don't or that I don't care, because I do care. And I like that I care. I like that about me. In a world where it's like seen as cool or seen as high vibe to not care what happens, I like that I hold on to things. Yeah, maybe you even hold on to like material possessions. You know, you've had that item for X number of years. Shouldn't you just get a new one already? Oh, you know what's important to you. I feel like you're a real treasurer of things. I don't know if I said this already, I felt like Virgo energy coming through for this group. Also Taurus and Scorpio energy. Sorry if I've said a lot of signs for this group, but those are the ones that are coming through. And then finally, we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. I don't want to say stuff that I've already said, but I definitely feel like a judgment here could be like, I'm too traditional. I'm too set in my ways. There may be, and there's Saturn, which is like tradition, previously established ways of being, ways of seeing things, sticking to the rules. There's an old or mature kind of energy here. Some of you might feel like you're old-fashioned or you've been called old-fashioned. I'm getting the sense with this energy that there may be certain things about modern times, modern society, modern culture, modern values, modern dating, whatever it might be, that you don't really vibe with. And it kind of all comes back to the same thing, doesn't it? It's places where you refuse to budge. And your higher self just wants you to give yourself permission to stick to what you know is right for you. Because here I also feel something like maybe I'm too traditional. Maybe I need to like keep up with the times. You might see even people in your similar age group, and feel like you can't relate a lot to them. And regardless of your age, sometimes you might feel like an old person or an elder on the inside, being like, what are the people doing these days? Whatever happened to the good old days of this? There's something about the past or something about traditions that you might feel is being lost. It could even have to do with language, like the way language is evolving, or the way technology is advancing. There may be some things about that you really don't like, and you like to... This is maybe a silly example, but sometimes people comment like, oh, you still use a paper day planner? Yes, I don't like the phone day planner. That's just a very small example. But things like that, where you prefer the older version or the more traditional version, or you miss the way things used to be, and sometimes you might not like the way things are progressing. And sometimes it's hard to talk about that, because there does tend to be this idea of like progress equals good, or like progressive equals good. And I'm thinking of that expression, don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out of your head, or something like that. And there may be some times where you're like, maybe I should try to open up to the, oh, okay. Now I can see why, like, maybe I should leave my house more. No, what the fuck was that bullshit? Just, that's just an analogy, right? But yeah, I just feel like, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm kind of saying the same thing in different ways, but group number 4, like, you know yourself really well and you know what's good for you. And I do think that you're open to changing and you're open to making adjustments, but not just for the sake of change. You're gonna make a change when you feel like it's something worthwhile. So I think a lot of this is just about giving yourself permission to have the approach that you do towards work, towards relationships, giving yourself permission to have the preferences that you have, giving yourself permission to, I was gonna say giving yourself permission to judge, you know, like you might be like, this is dumb. The way we're doing this in society is dumb. And then you're like, no, I'm being judgmental. That's okay. Everyone's judgmental. If anyone says they're not judgmental, they're lying. Like that's what we do. We judge things. If you're on the top of a building and you're like, this is dangerous, I'm gonna go inside, that's a judgment. It's not inherently a bad thing. And I get it, because I do feel like and I really, really do feel this, group number 4, that the vast majority of people have a great respect for the way that you are and the way that you carry yourself. There's always gonna be those outliers who are the loudest, right? In a YouTube video, it's the one negative comment that stands out, right? There's always gonna be the people who are like, you're being too picky, or you're being too judgy, or you're being too stuck in your ways, you're being too stubborn, you're too this, you're too that. That really do stick with you and can get in your head sometimes. But I don't know, your higher self just wants to say, like, there's nothing wrong with the way you are or the way you think or the way you move through the world. And if something works for you, it works for you. It doesn't have to work for other people. It doesn't have to make sense for other people. If they want to do stuff differently, they can do stuff differently. End of story, you know? Yes. So for the last part of the reading, we are going to take a few oracle cards. So my intention for this part of the reading is to get some guidance from your higher self with regards to how you could be kinder to yourself, more loving towards yourself. But anything your higher self wants to say here is perfect. So the first deck we're going to use is the Sarah Luna's Affirmation Comic Oracle. Messages or advice from group number 4's higher self. Motivation Moon. The letter M could be significant. This is Motivation Moon, one of many affirmation comic doodles created by Sarah Luna, also known as the Lunar Walker. That's the creator of this deck. Hello. Motivation Moon is here to guide you, support you, and help you see how amazing you are. When I saw this book, I thought about analog stuff. That was my first thought. Probably because we were talking about the paper day planner. Something about sticking to a more analog life, being less online, which I understand is ironic for me to say because you're watching this online. But I find that sometimes being online gives me brain rot because it's like there's a very loud minority online. And if you're not careful, you will start to believe that the way those loud people think is the way everybody thinks. And real people in real life who touch grass, they're pretty normal folks out there. So, you know, the algorithms have a way of pushing the most sensational stuff and pushing stuff that is triggering, because triggering stuff gets more engagement. There's a lot of fear mongering online, and the world may be not as scary of a place as you feel it is. So maybe this is advice on how you can like better care for yourself. Prioritizing, you know, in real life, IRL, prioritizing IRL relationships, prioritizing in-person interactions. Oh, this is a big one for some of you. If you are a professional, a business owner, an artist, whatever, and you've heard this advice of like, you need to get on your social media game. You need to start building your social media. And that's really, really not your thing. Don't do it. You don't have to. I promise there's other ways to be successful. There's other ways to network. There's other ways to find inspiration. I know there's a growing pressure to be more online and to be sharing more of your life, and to be doing stuff to go viral and gain followers and whatever. So if you are in a field where you feel the pressure to be doing that and that doesn't resonate with you, please don't fall for the idea that you must succumb to the social media overlords to find your success, because you absolutely don't. Yes, going back to analog, I think, could be really grounding and anxiety relieving for you. And if you already are living a pretty analog life, then this is confirmation that you're doing the right thing. I'm not even using this deck in this reading, but this is reminding me of, where is she? Oh, here she is. This deck, I love this deck, Your Wise Animal Body. I just remembered that there is an analog card in this deck. Let me see if I can find it, because it's very nice. Sometimes this guidebook kind of confuses me because it's kind of in alphabetical order, but it's also kind of not. Okay, I found it. Yes, this analog passage. Is this the first page of it? Yes. Nature is where we come from and where we will return to when we pass away. The quiet and riotous rhythms of the natural world are our birthright and our true saving grace. Cities, the grind, greed, capitalism, poverty, racism, sexism, gay and transphobia, bigotry, ableism, electricity, technology, all of these things don't occur in the natural world without humans. We as a species, with our big brains and our God complex, have shaped, altered, and perverted the natural state of things to the point where it is at times unrecognizable. It is no wonder that we suffer from stress and disease when our environment and the things we've become habituated to, even addicted to in some cases, are not in any kind of natural rhythm. Take our smartphones as probably the most poignant and insidious example. Most of us own one, and most of us have social media apps on them. How many hours do you spend mindlessly scrolling Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, only to feel more anxious than when you began? These phones and the apps are specifically geared towards producing a dopamine response in the brain to keep us addicted to opening them up over and over again. But the ultimate experience of these apps is not one of soothing or calming. In fact, there is a new term for a phenomenon called doom scrolling, which is essentially scrolling through bad news, even though it causes us distress. Since social media has now become a hub for everything, we get updates from our friends, influencers, celebrities, and our global/local news. Unless we have carefully cultivated the digital space, we are often inundated with information. Funnily, I wanted to read this as misinformation, so that could be significant. Much more than we can actually absorb. This sets our nervous systems on edge. Not to mention the prevalence of online bullying and trolling and the culture of comparing ourselves to one another. For all of its potential joys and uses, the vast majority of people, especially younger generations that have more or less grown up in the internet, are really seeing the negative effects of these digital spaces. The effect of stepping foot into nature is the exact opposite. It is a balm and a salve for all that our society throws at us. It does not need to be anything else other than itself, and it is perfect just as it is. It helps us to remember that we are perfect as we are too. Okay, nature is coming through. That's a big one from your higher self, to spend time in nature and appreciating your own nature. And that's what a lot of your reading was about. Appreciating the nature of who you are and not feeling like maybe I should change something about myself just for the sake of changing. Just for the sake of feeling like you're evolving or feeling like you're progressing. Doing less, I also think, could be very helpful. Ironically, you will find that even if you do less, you can get the same amount of stuff done. I do less and yet everything gets done. I'm hearing something like that. And was there something else I wanted to say? If it's relevant, it will come back. But yeah, I thought of that passage. So next we're gonna get a card from the Magic Girl Oracle. And there's another book. Love is not always obvious. Are some of you writing a book, or you're authors, or this is your sign to write a book, or this is your sign to get back to that book that you were reading, to get back to your reading list? These images feel very grounding. Something about holding a paper book instead of holding a phone feels very calming to me, and having the physical touch feels very calming to me. Love is not always obvious. This is making me think of, oh my gosh, the bottom of the deck is also books. Someone tell me why books are so significant. Resistance can simply be misalignment. Group number 4, the message for you is that your flow and your joy are always right there. Even when you are completely feeling frazzled and anxious, your flow is always just one adjustment away. And it will feel so much better. And it's subtle. The love from Mother Earth, the love from nature, the love from your true nature is always there. When you're out of alignment from it, it might not be screaming at you to come back, but it will be gently waiting for you. And it will always be right there. And you're never far from it, even if it feels that way. Even if sometimes it might feel like, oh my gosh, I've strayed so far from my true nature. No, it is always right there. Finally, we are going to get a card from the I Love Me deck. Messages or advice from group number 4's higher self. Make yourself a nourishing meal. Also, something grounding, something pertaining to the 5 senses. Getting back in touch with your body and calming your nervous system, recentering your thoughts is coming through as very important. And yes, this feeling of disconnecting, unplugging, you don't have to worry about everyone. You don't have to worry about the whole world. Come back to what is here now. Come back to what is real. Come back to what is in front of you. For some of you, this could also be about, because I'm thinking of you, like in the example of being online, you're in a virtual world that is not really your true present moment. So for some of you, this could also be about your mind getting lost in the future, worrying about what ifs of the future, or your mind getting lost in the past. Being It's not that the future and the past are not real. Well, they're not real right now in your present moment. I think I'm really trying to say come back to the present moment, but I'm just making it confusing. Come back to your body, come back to the present moment. I want to say come back to your breath. Why don't we actually take a card from this deck since we brought her out? Your wise animal body. I really like this deck. Attend, say. So this is related to your throat chakra. I really feel like actually many of you are being called to write. Because yes, this does say, but this really just is about expressing yourself and being creative. And with all of these books, I really do feel like you're being called to write. Some of you will be publishing a book, or some of you will be, this is going to sound ironic, but you might start to share your ideas on a platform after I've talked so much about being offline. Obviously, you don't have to be completely offline. You're online right now, but being online with more intention, when you actually, like when you have something of value to say, or when there are things of value for you to consume, rather than using it away to just pass the time. Some of you are feeling called to speak, to share your ideas. You could be giving a talk somewhere. You could be, like some of you could be interviewed. You could be a guest on a podcast. You could be teaching a class also that's coming through. Some of you are going to start feeling called to teach what you know, if you aren't doing that already. You're being called to share. And actually, it may be through this act of sharing or presenting or publishing or teaching what is inside of you that just further validates more and more and more that you are so valuable and you don't need to change anything about yourself. Okay? So my beautiful group number 4s, those are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. I also want to say thank you so much to the creators of these decks. Thank you to the indie creators who share your art with us. Thank you for sending me your decks, and it's such an honor to be able to use them. And thank you for watching. I hope you take good care of yourself and stay healthy. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you would like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have a link down below: my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 timeless exclusive pick a card readings, just like the ones here on my channel. We also have 2 new ones every month, and you can choose the topic for those. So I will have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release link down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, to all versions of you, past, present, and future, and to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 5s. So if you guys chose the 4-leaf clover, this is going to be your reading. I just wanted to mention that before I started filming your group, I had a song in my head, and that song is Watercolor by Pendulum. So that song or lyrics could be significant to you. I will link the song down below, but a cool synchronicity that I noticed is that the main line of the song that repeats is "Take me out of here." And then we're using a transparent tarot deck today, so you can see what cards are here. And when I sat down to start recording your group, I realized that your top card is the 6 of Swords, which is about like getting away or going somewhere else. So Maybe many of you who chose this group are needing a change of scenery or just needing to get away from it all. Maybe you are needing some alone time or just needing a change of environment so that you can reflect, I'm hearing, or so that you can process something. And then another thing I wanted to mention is that you guys were drawn to the 4-leaf clover. So I do think that if you were a stranger and you were looking at yourself objectively, you would realize how special you are and how unique you are. So maybe my group number 5s, you have a tendency of downplaying what makes you special. You might say or think things like, oh, I'm just your average person, like I'm just the average Joe, I'm nothing special. Or feeling like there's nothing about you that makes you stand out, and that is absolutely not true. Even the fact that you're group number 5, it's pretty rare that I do a reading with 5 groups. It's usually either 3 or 4. So even the fact that you're group number 5 feels special to me. So let's get into the main part of your reading. Like I mentioned, we're going to be using the transparent tarot, and I'm going to pull 3 cards. Yeah, group number 5, like, you're so special and you really do make an impression on people, because something that just came through is that I don't know if this is a specific person or people in general, but it's like you think that you didn't leave an impression on them, but you absolutely did. You think that they don't remember you, but they do. I don't know, is that about a specific person? There's just a feeling of someone remembering you and you feeling really good about that because you never thought they would. Anyway, as I was saying, we are going to pull 3 cards to represent 3 truths about you. That may be hard for you to see sometimes. The first truth about you is represented by justice. The second truth about you is represented by the high priestess. And the third truth about you is represented by the 9 of Swords. So now what we're going to do is pull another 3 cards, and they're going to go on top of these. And that card on top is going to represent the filter of self-judgment through which you may be seeing these truths. You have a lot of admirers, and there's like someone who can't stop thinking about you. You are living in their head rent-free. It's like they're daydreaming about you, or they're really into you. I do think you're a very beautiful person. And I was actually going to say that because this is Libra energy, which is ruled by Venus. I think you're very beautiful. Like, your physical appearance is very beautiful, and you often catch people's attention, and that might not be something that you notice. People might be staring at you, or people might be checking you out, and you don't realize that they're doing that. I'm hearing because you're in your own world, because you're in your own bubble. you have a beauty that is very effortless and timeless. Maybe a beauty that is very rare. There may be certain features you have that you sometimes judge or feel insecure about, but if you were a stranger looking at yourself, you would actually love those very same features on you. Some of you might think, oh, that feature looks amazing on that other person, but not on me. And it's just because of your own filter of being self-critical. But if you were able to look at yourself as a stranger, you would recognize that it also looks beautiful on you. Yeah, this was coming up for another group as well, but you at this time may not be able to totally look at yourself physically in an objective way. You may see flaws where there aren't really flaws there, or see flaws where other people just see pure beauty. Okay, what is the filter over your Justice card? Yeah, I'm hearing nitpicking. You may tend to nitpick things about yourself, and you don't really do that for other people. Whether you are looking at a picture of yourself, or hearing a recording of your voice, or looking over work that you've done, like, oh, I could have done that better, I could have done that better. When it comes to you, I feel like you really zoom in on every little detail. Whereas when it comes to other people, you give them more grace and you look at their entire essence as a whole. Like, you're not nitpicking other people's features. You're not, I'm hearing you're not nitpicking other people's performances. You're taking the performance as a whole experience. When you look at your performance, you're like, oh, I said 7 times. I don't like that. Oh, I made a mistake on this part. Nitpicking like that. And if you were a stranger looking at yourself, you would not do that. You would not see all those mistakes, or you wouldn't even register them as mistakes. And don't get me wrong, this is not always a bad thing. Like, if you are, for example, if you are a performer, if you are a professional, maybe having that very keen eye for the little details of what you do and being a little bit perfectionistic about them, maybe that has helped you to excel. But I think it becomes a problem when we're not able to turn that on and off. Like, hopefully you should be able to turn that off when you're not in work mode, or when you're not in performance mode, and just look at yourself as a holistic human. And yeah, okay. Why is this person committing seppuku? Okay, sure. We have the 3 of Swords and the King of Wands. I'm going to put these together. Maybe that's meaning like self-sabotage. Your filter for the High Priestess is the Queen of Swords. And your filter for the 9 of Swords is the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, this one you have 2 filters on it. So This could be one that is particularly difficult for you to see the truth about yourself. When I look at these two together, there's a feeling of self-sabotaging before you ever had the chance to grow. Self-sabotaging before you ever had the chance to see your true potential. You are able to grow a lot bigger than you currently are. This could be pertaining to, I think it's pertaining to your levels of success. That's what it feels like. So this could be about your position at work, like how high up you are, your status, your income, the reach that you have, the influence that you have, how well known you are, how much recognition you receive, how much freedom you have in your life, I'm hearing. How much creative direction you have over your life. You can grow to much greater heights. But for some reason, you sabotage yourself. I think what this is that you are a lot more qualified for opportunities or for positions or for roles than what you perceive. Maybe I said that in a confusing way. You perceive yourself as less qualified than you actually are. I was just watching a podcast and they were talking about it as a gendered thing. I don't necessarily know if this is true, but basically there's two kinds of people. In a job interview, there's someone who speaks a few words of Spanish and they put on their resume that they're fluent in Spanish. Meanwhile, there's someone else who's like 90% fluent in Spanish and they don't even mention it. So this could be you seeing yourself as less qualified than you actually are, or downplaying, dismissing, or maybe even forgetting all the things that you are qualified in, or being like, oh, I didn't think that was worth mentioning. Yes, it is. If you're good at something, it's worth mentioning. If you've spent the time to learn something, to study something, to gain any level of skill at something, of course it's worth mentioning. Maybe not vouching for yourself is a form of self-sabotage, not promoting yourself, depending on what field you're in. Not speaking up about your skills and experiences and qualifications. You were maybe able to guess it, but the way they were talking about it is like, men will apply for jobs if they read the job description and they're like, yeah, I can do some of that. They'll apply for it. But a woman won't apply for the job unless she reads the description and is like, I can do all of those things and I can do them all well. Otherwise, she will feel not qualified for it. Like I said, I personally don't know if it's a gendered thing. I haven't researched this topic, but I've definitely seen both types of person. And I do feel like I fall into the latter. I'm like always feeling I can't do XYZ until I'm more qualified. But I think the former way, it's a lot more confident and it allows for more growth. If you take on a role and you can already do all of it perfectly, there's going to be no growth for you in that role. Whereas if you take on something where you can do some of it quite well and then other stuff you don't know, then you're going to learn so much. So there could be a situation where you sabotage your own growth, or you kind of take away the opportunity for you to see what your full potential is by playing it safe or by undervaluing your capabilities. There's something like this that is coming through. I do think it's a confidence thing. And again, there's a feeling of there's a lot of things you're good at, but for some reason you feel like it's not worth mentioning. And maybe that goes back to feeling like there's nothing special about it. But it is special and it is impressive and it should be known, but people aren't going to know about it unless you say it. I'm also thinking of the expression, the grease, what is it? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, people aren't going to give you opportunities if you're just sitting there quietly, or like the open mouth gets fed, or, you know, those kinds of expressions. So maybe your higher self is encouraging you to be a little bit more of a squeaky wheel, or a little bit more of a show off, a little bit more of like, hey, look what I can do. Look at what I'm good at. It will open a lot more doors for you. Next, we have the High Priestess, and the filter is the Queen of Swords. So I definitely think that this is referring to a strong intuition and strong psychic abilities. That's the truth of you. You are the High Priestess. You know things. You know things before they happen. You know things before they are proven to you or shown to you in the 3D, because you can feel them. You can sense them on some deeper level. And then this filter with the Queen of Swords, I feel like this is the part of you that says, where's the proof? And if there's no proof, I'm gonna dismiss it. I would bet, group number 5, that you get a lot of signs every single day. You see a lot of synchronicities. I would bet you have very vivid dreams a lot, that when this part goes to sleep, you recognize that these dreams are not random, that they are trying to tell you something very specific. Then when this part of you wakes up again, it's like, well, actually, there's no evidence that dreams mean anything, and these synchronicities are just a coincidence, and it's just in my head. That's the filter of self-judgment. So you might not accurately see just how strong your intuition is, or frankly, just how psychic you are. For some reason, I want to say you don't need to see how psychic you are to be psychic. Like, that's not going to lower your ability. It's still going to be there, and the signs are still going to be there. They're not offended. They don't care. Your dreams don't care. If you don't believe what they're trying to tell you, they'll keep coming. The synchronicities don't care. They'll keep coming. And you'll keep knowing deep down what they're trying to tell you. This chattery, skeptical part of you doesn't actually change anything. It's annoying, but it doesn't make your abilities any weaker, and it doesn't make the truth any less true. It's about time, I think, for my group number 5s watching this, that you confirm what you've felt, what you've known all along, what you've been experiencing. And then we have this 9 of Swords, which is a truth about you. And I think this is about your sensitivity. I think often when we talk about someone being sensitive, we think of like they're highly emotional. And that might be true about you, but this 9 of Swords, or Swords cards in general, pertain to the mental, pertain to the mind. So your sensitivity might manifest as, like, maybe you're somebody who gets overstimulated, or maybe you're somebody who feels stressed easily, or you're someone who is prone to overthinking. For some reason, I'm thinking of social interactions. Maybe, yeah, and I think that goes back to nitpicking at the details. You may do that with social interactions as well. If you feel like you said something weird, or you did something a little bit embarrassing, and most people would be able to just be like, that was awkward, oh well, and go about their day, you might really think about it and replay it over and over in your head. I was literally just doing this yesterday because someone texted me and I could not tell. It's hard with text because everybody texts a bit differently. and I could not tell if they were being nice or if they were being rude. And I thought about it all day. Like, I'm still thinking about it. So you might experience things like this as well. And it's a mental sensitivity. Like, things get stuck in my head easily. And yeah, even looking at the way this person looks like they're plugging their ears, this could very well be an overstimulation thing. I'm also hearing, I don't know how to pronounce this, misophonia. Like, when you have a really strong aversion to certain sounds, there may be things that disproportionately irritate you or distress you. And if you were looking at yourself as a stranger, you would want yourself to be accommodated. Whereas I think through your filter of self-judgment, you might think like, I'm being unreasonable, or I should just deal with it. If you were looking at yourself as a stranger, you would not tell yourself to just deal with it. You would want yourself to be in a more comfortable environment. So it may be time for you to start validating the things that trigger you, or that overstimulate you, or that irritate you, rather than just trying to push through them like a quote unquote normal person, like everybody else does. And there's 2222 on the camera timer as I'm saying that, which is a number of the High Priestess, interestingly. I feel like you're a highly sensitive person and a highly psychic person. And you may also pick up on a lot of energies from other people, especially people who cut off their own emotions. People who refuse to feel their own emotions, and then it ends up like going to you, or you end up somehow picking it up. And that could be very overwhelming. I feel like you have the gift of claircognizance. That's coming through as well. But yeah, there may be certain like sensory things or just stressors that, because you look around and you're like, oh, well, this doesn't seem to be bothering anybody else, so it's probably just a me problem. Well, yes, even if it's only you still deserve to feel better. Why is it relevant? Like, if there's a sound you find annoying or something you find stressful, why is it relevant that nobody else finds it stressful? You're the one having the experience, and you're the one who deserves to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and feel better. And as I'm saying this, I realize that some of you have maybe been like made to feel bad if you have a lower tolerance for certain things compared to other people. And that really makes me, I'm getting emotional when I think about that. It really makes me quite sad, because you're not trying to be difficult. And I feel like if it reached the point that you said something about it, it's probably been bothering you for a long time. And I don't know, like, I'm like really sensitive to I'm really sensitive to cigarette smoke, and like my partner isn't. So there will be times where we've like made plans to go to a restaurant, we walk in, we sit down, and like 10 seconds later I'm like, nah, cigarette smoke is too much, and he's like, okay, let's leave. And I feel so lucky for that, because there could also be a pattern where, that's not how you say it, there could also be a scenario where I'm with someone and I'm like, the cigarette smoke is too much, and then they're like, oh, now we have to find somewhere else. Like, can't you just deal with it? We already sat down, and make you feel like shit for bringing it up. And I feel like when it comes to you, the fact that you're even saying something, you've probably already been suffering in silence for a long time and already debated in your head, like, should I say something? Is this going to be an inconvenience to the other person? And you've already done the math in your head of like, no, this is too stressful for me. I have to say something. And then, to speak up about a need that you have to be more comfortable and to be made to feel like that's inconvenient, or I don't know, it just makes me sad. So I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if it has happened to you, I'm really sorry, and people should be nicer to you, because like it's a need. It is a need. Being comfortable in your environment is a need, and you deserve it. And you're speaking up about how you could be more comfortable, or how someone could help you to be more comfortable. And that's valuable information. Anyway, I think sometimes those filters of judgment might cause you to just power through them. And I wish you don't have to do that. Yeah. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I forgot. I've been rolling dice. Maybe you don't need the dice, because you've already, let's roll them. We've already like been through all of this, but let's roll the dice anyway. We have Leo, Aries, and the North Node. Some of you could have North Node in Leo or North Node in Aries, or you could have South Node in, yeah, South Node in Leo, North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Aries, North Node in Libra. Leo definitely is corroborating the message of being more of a show-off and advocating more for yourself. I feel like Aries as well. It's about you taking more of a position of power, being more in a leader role. You might not see yourself as a leader, but you definitely could be. And I feel like saying a leader can look like many different things. A leader can look like many different things. Just something to think about. I feel like that's the end of the message, but for those of you who are like, oh, I'm not a leader, I can't see myself in a leadership role, it may be because you have the archetype of a leader that exists in your mind is quite limited, and your higher self would like to suggest that it could look like something different. I'm not really sure what that means. I guess just that a leader can take on many different forms. It's like if someone said, oh, I'm not a spiritual person. Like I don't read tarot cards and burn incense, because that's just the archetype that they have of a spiritual person, right? But what a spiritual person, it can look like so many different things. And it's the same thing with a leader. And there's some manifestation of a leader that you would be very good for. Maybe you're a leader who kind of leads in a more low-key way from behind the scenes or something like that. And it could actually be like something that is calling to you. A call that is going to be annoying and not go away. And you'll have to become comfortable with. Yeah. You'll have to be comfortable with being more in the spotlight or being more of a leader. Because it's always going to be nagging at you to step into that role. Even if it's uncomfortable, it's going to kind of be nagging at you. I'm seeing in my head a superhero who just wants to live life as a normal person, but then the people of the city need them, and someone comes to the superhero's house and is like, we need you. And the superhero's like in a bubble bath. And they're like, what? Oh, okay, I guess I'll put on my cape now. I don't know, somehow I feel like that's you. Like you have your superpowers, and deep down you know some way, somehow life is gonna call on you to use them and step up and be noticed. And you're begrudgingly like, okay, I'm putting on my coat, I'm putting on my shoes, I'm stepping out. Is there anything else I want to say? I think that might be everything. Why do I feel like maybe I'm just spacing out? Because I felt like I went on a tangent and was trying to get back to something, but I don't remember what I was trying to get back to. But alas, it's okay. Okay, so for the last part of the reading, we're gonna pull some oracle cards. And we are going to get some guidance from your higher self about how you could be kinder to yourself, how you could be more loving towards yourself. So the first deck we're using is the Sarah Luna's Affirmation Comic Oracle. Messages or advice from group number 5's higher self. Aww, you celebrate you. Yeah. You give yourself positive feedback and celebrate your achievements, no matter how seemingly small they might be. Everything that counts as a win to you is worthy of your praise. No more, it's not worth mentioning. I have, in my new day planner, there's a section every week where you write an achievement. And it's crazy. I'll be like, oh, but I didn't really achieve anything this week. And then when I actually look back, I'm like, yes, you did. You achieved this very significant thing. And I'm like, why does my brain forget this? Or why is my brain like, oh, that? Oh yeah, I did achieve that, whatever. No, celebrate it. Sheesh. Celebrate your wins, celebrate your milestones, celebrate your track record. You have a very impressive track record, group number 5. This is also giving Leo energy, like looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. I'm thinking of the Meghan Trainor song that's like, if I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. Perhaps if you were looking at yourself as a stranger, you would be thinking, God, I wish that were me. You would be wishing to be you if you were someone else. You're lucky to be you. That's the energy you need to have. You don't want to be anyone else. You want to be you. That's a lot. No, we're not going to take all of those. But this is a deck about magic, so the fact that we had a lot of cards fall out here could be a message that you are full of magic. You are the High Priestess. Look out for the High Priestess in other readings. I feel like she definitely represents you. We have Fight Like a Queen. There was another group that got, I think it was group number 2 that got this card. So some of you maybe were drawn to group number 2 as well. The same way you, what's the word? The same way you champion? Is that the right word? The same way you support and promote what your friends and loved ones are doing, do the same for yourself. Because I feel like you are really big on hyping up your friends and especially talking really nicely about your friends to other people when they're not around. Like, oh my gosh, this is my friend so-and-so, they're amazing, they do this for a living, and they do this and this and this, and they have this that you can check out, and oh my gosh, they're so talented, and you know, really hyping up your friends and loved ones like that. Hype yourself up in the same way. You know, like attracts like. So if you have all these amazing friends, guess what that says about you? That also says that you're amazing. I don't make the rules. That's what I told Aso that. I was like, if you are my bestie, I know that I'm doing something right. Okay, and finally, we're gonna take a card from the I Love Me Oracle. Take a relaxing salt bath. Wasn't I talking about some example with you in a bath? Yes, I said you were in a bubble bath. and then the people needed you and you had to put on your superhero cape. However, I hope that you are taking an uninterrupted bath. I promise I won't interrupt you. Sorry. I'm getting in a silly mood now, but yeah, I think this is really just about taking you time. You know, going back to the very start of the reading, there was that message of take me out of here. There was a message of wanting to get away from it all. If you're not in a place where you can physically leave your environment or travel somewhere to get away from it all, there could be little moments of escape, like in taking a long bath and leaving your phone far away. And I wanted to say aromatherapies, like having those kind of little moments of escape can also be a way that you mentally take yourself away from here. And I feel like that's really important, especially if you are a highly sensitive person, if you are someone who gets overly stimulated easily, you may need more of these moments. And I think it's important to give these moments to yourself without judgment, without any sort of judgment of how much, how often you need them, of how long you need them. Give yourself lots of breaks because you absolutely deserve them. And actually, you don't even need to deserve a break. You don't need to earn a break. You deserve breaks because you exist. I do want to take... I brought these out kind of halfway through the video. I brought them out in group number 4's reading, but I want to take one for you as well. Your wise animal body. That's making me emotional too. Your wise animal body, because your body knows what you need, and it's not trying to be annoying. It's not trying to inconvenience you. It just wants to let you know what it needs. And it's like we've got it all backwards. Instead of hating the body that can't wake up early, let's hate the society that forces us to wake up early. Like, why would the default be to be hard on the body? Like, why can't you do this? Why can't you keep up with these demands? Why are the demands there in the first place? Isn't that a little bit fucked up? The body did nothing wrong. Leave my body alone. She did nothing wrong. Okay. Let's get a card from your wise animal body. Some of you maybe are being asked to be patient with your body, give your body grace as it adjusts to something new. For example, like being on medication, being off medication. Oh my gosh, I went off birth control and it took a good 9 months to be back to normal. And this is so silly. If you Google If you Google this, it's like, your hormone levels should return to normal after a few days of stopping the pill. Like, what the? Shut up. Anyway, sometimes it takes time for your body to adjust to things. A new diet, a new schedule, a new environment. It's okay if it takes time. Daydream. That's beautiful. I'm gonna read this one from the guidebook. I also just opened the guidebook and it was on the page of mindful movement. So if there's anybody watching this who struggles to meditate in stillness, oh, and I just opened it to the page meditate. You may find better success in meditating through movement. Okay, here is the passage for daydream. It's on pages 81 and 82, in case that's significant. One of the magical aspects of the mind is its ability to conjure images, ideas, fantasies, and potential outcomes that please and excite us. Daydreaming is a vital and healthy part of the human experience and can be calming to the nervous system depending upon how it is employed. Do you find yourself drifting into daydreams? What are they usually about? Ooh, is this like a guided daydream? Bask in the following daydream with me. You are lying beneath a vast blanket of stars and the robust and vivid Milky Way galaxy. You are rocking gently in a hammock that is super cozy and warm. There's a sparse canopy of leaves and branches overhead, and a smooth, crisp, early fall breeze moving through the trees. As you lay there, you see the occasional shooting star. The first several stars whisk away any worries you are carrying in your heart. The next several remain suspended in the sky and form to make a word. This word, the very first that comes to mind, is what needs your focus right now. Write that word in your journal. Daydreaming is not just an idle activity. It helps me to envision a beautiful future. Interesting. I'm curious, what word did you see? But actually, you don't have to tell me because maybe it's personal. But I don't know why I saw that word, but sure. I think my group number 5s, you have a very vivid imagination. And that is beautiful and that is a good thing. And I hope that you know that, and I hope you don't try to not run away with your imagination. Like, oh, I have to be in reality. You can be wherever you want because it's your mind. It's your mind and you can go wherever you want. And daydreaming is very powerful, like it said in the guidebook. It has the ability to quite literally change our mood, to make us happy. I was doing that little guided daydream and imagining myself in the hammock, imagining the wind, the temperature of the air, the colors, the stars in the sky. It's incredibly soothing. That did put me in a very good mood. So you have this beautiful gift to make yourself feel better, to make yourself excited, to glimpse into your possible futures. Use it. I think there's quite a simple message from your higher self here to enjoy that practice of using your imagination, and don't let anybody take that away from you. That is yours. Yes, So group number 5, those are all of the messages that I have for you. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. And I also want to say thank you so much to the creators of these beautiful decks. Thank you to the indie creators who share your art with us. Thank you for sending me your decks. It's an honor to use them in my readings. And thank you for watching. I hope you are taking good care of yourself and staying healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 timeless exclusive readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new ones every month, and you get to choose the topic for those. So I'll have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, to all versions of you, past, present, and future, and to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And this is me giving you a hug, group number 5, an energetic hug. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.